The following is a RackRadioShow.com exclusive.
And welcome back to The Rack right here on WildTalkRadio.com. Presented as always by Wrestling Figure Wednesday. Go to youtube.com/MBG1211 for all your stop motion wrestling action figure needs. And now joining us is the one, the only, one of the greatest Intercontinental Champions of all time, the first ever Intercontinental Champion, the one, the only, Pat Patterson. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Right off the bat, wanted to mention that while reading the book, you could feel like the honest love you have for life, wrestling, and your longtime partner, Louis. Is that something you were trying to get across in the book?
In the book, I was trying to get across that not so much about the wrestling, you know. I won the championship, but this guy beat me in 1941. And, you know, that was not the book about. It's about being gay and coming out, you know, and having such a hard time all these years to hide. It's not fair, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And over the years, the word got out, obviously.
Right.
But I wanted to come out. I wanted to say it.
Yeah, and you hear that in the book, and just by reading it, you just feel the love you had for the business and for life in general. That was the point I was sort of trying to get across.
Oh, the business, it is my life. I love it. You know, it's just the greatest thing that ever happened to me. That's what I wanted to be when I was young. And even now, today, I give my point of view about a certain talent, and I have a good point of view, and they listen, and I get good ideas. And when you work with Vince McMahon for so many years, you know, you got to be creative. You got to come up with ideas. And sometimes Vince and I would go to, you know, we'd go and argue and debate on a certain subject. And I wasn't there just to be a yes man. I give my point of view, and I stood on it, you know. Like the Royal Rumble, when I came up with the idea of the Royal Rumble, Vince thought it was a stupid idea. And I said, it's not. It's going to work. I said, oh, my God, give me a break. He would not wanted to do it, you know. Well, it's one of our best pay-per-view that we have every year.
It's one of my favorites of all time.
Oh, it is. It is. It's fun. Even the wrestlers like it, you know. It's very interesting. And I worked very hard at getting talent back. Some of these guys got fired over the years. You know, they were talented, but they do stupid things. And I fought from some of these guys that they would never come back to WWE. One of them was Shawn Michaels, and Vince didn't want to hear nothing about him. Pat, he is dead. Shawn Michaels was not coming back. Every once in a while, I would bring up his name. And Shawn Michaels never called and said, Pat, can you get me in? I never called. I just wanted to convince Vince. And Shawn Michaels was back. And Bret Hart was another one. And Daniel Bryan was another one. I fought for them. I didn't tell them I did that for you. They found out on their own. You know what I'm saying? I was fighting for these guys because everybody makes a mistake at one time or another, especially if you're talented. Come on, you know. So most of these guys, they need advice. Sometimes you got to give them the right advice. Sometimes it goes in one ear or the other, and some of them they get it. You know.
Yeah,
and I love it. It's
yeah,
like a mother, I say, for these guys.
You mentioned in your book that you wanted to get the Stanley Cup trophy made for all the wrestlers. I believe you called it something like the Patterson Cup.
Oh, yeah, for the Royal Rumble. Yeah, I would like to have a cup like the Stanley Cup and put the name of each wrestler that they won in that year and the next year. It would be like a Stanley Cup. I've been fighting for that, and I hope I'm going to try again because people like to walk around and they look at it, they'll touch it. Oh, yeah, that was Shawn Michaels. I won that, you know.
Yeah.
Nice. It'd be very nice. And whoever wins the Royal Rumble, you give them a trophy there, right there in the middle of the ring, you know?
Yeah, like in every sport, you get a trophy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm working on it.
Do you have a favorite Royal Rumble memory you could share with us?
My favorite Royal Rumble? I think one of the biggest moments is, I think it was Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, where they both went over the top rope and they didn't touch the floor or something like that. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, that was Luger and Bret Hart. That was who it was.
Yeah. Another thing, too, the Iron Man match. You seem to be very familiar with the business, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The Iron Man match. That was a no-no. Vince didn't want to do that at all.
Right.
Forget it. Forget it. Two little guys for 1 hour? Come on, don't forget about it on a pay-per-view. I really convinced them. It took me a while, but they did it. And my God, that was so good. I was sitting in the audience. I wanted to feel that moment. And I was actually crying how much I enjoyed that match. You don't think those two kids were happy after? Oh, my God. That's something I'll never forget.
Yeah. You bring up Shawn Michaels, you brought up Bret Hart, and you saw great potential in them. Who right now do you see that has that same type of potential?
Dolph Ziggler.
Dolph Ziggler? You see him as the guy? As the guy?
You know, I see it big time, you know, but he came a long way, this kid, you know. My point of view is you got guys like, okay, you got Hogan, you got Steve Austin, all these characters, big, you know, bigger than life or whatever. But those little guys, people love them, you know, and they're talented, you know, and that's what makes me feel like, come on, you know, these guys can do nice things too. Some of these guys, you know, they need advice, they need help, and that's what they need, you know. And some of them listen, some of them don't. So, but I do it anyway. So
yeah, you just give them the advice anyway. Whether they take it or not, you're at least giving to them, so it's out there for them.
And you know, you can watch some of the best wrestler in the ring, and sometimes who's gonna tell a top guy that what you do in that ring looks like shit? What do you mean? I've been doing this all my life. It's the shit. No one wants to tell a top guy that the move that he does is the shit, and I do. I tell them, you know. And I remember years ago, I was wrestling in San Francisco, and a good friend of mine, Pedro Morales, is amigo, you're the best in the world, but that's what you do in the corner. It's no good. And look, what? He says, I'm telling you, don't do that no more. I thought I was happy that somebody would tell me that something that I do, it doesn't look good. So I learned my lesson from that, and I do that with a lot of talent.
The brand split is coming up for the company. Who on the roster can you see benefiting the most with more exposure from the brand split?
Well, I have no idea. No idea what they're going to do and what's going to happen. But I'll be there. I'll be there a week before that, and I'll find out what's going on. But I don't know. I don't have a clue right now.
I meant more, who do you see benefiting from more exposure?
But it's hard now. I would have to think of all the talent that we have. Who would be good to go here and go there? I don't know. There might be I think some new faces would be good too, you know. A lot of good talent at NXT, and maybe some of the talent could be moving in there too. But I don't know about the exchange. Don't know. Maybe Seth Rollins and maybe some of those three guys, and they'll probably separate by them, and that maybe, you know.
I see what you're saying. You mentioned in your book that you've gone down to NXT. What is a piece of advice you could give someone who is trying to break into the business?
Someone that could get in the business?
Yeah, just like a piece of advice who is, you know, for someone who is starting in the business.
Well, first of all, you have to have the talent for it, you know. And there's a lot of people all around the world that send their resume and their look, their photo, and everything else. And if the photo that they have and their resume, if it sounds good, they'll bring them in and try them out. You know, and there's a lot of guys that went, and after 2 or 3 months, they disappeared. You know, it's not them. It's not for them.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them patch on really good. You know. I like to go to NXT and I watch their matches and stuff like that, you know. And I don't want to make them nervous because when Pat comes there, they, oh my God, Patterson, you know, they work hard. And after the match, I give them some advice, you know, but I'm not in charge of this. I just go there as a point of view. And there's so many good kids there, you know, and they have talent, so do some big stars.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with you on that one. You know, you have Finn Balor, Samoa Joes, and all alike. There's a lot of talent down there.
Yeah.
So by reading the book, we learned that you like to travel and take cruises. Where's, you know, someplace you would like to take a cruise that you've never been to before?
You're asking me where I would like to go, someplace I've never been?
Yes.
Well, I've been just about everywhere that I want to go. God, I went to Israel, I went to Egypt, out to the pyramid, and I traveled in in Europe, you know, in France and Germany and England and God, you know, France and Japan and Australia. God, oh my days, you know, you can't buy that, you know, and it's funny because what I tell some of these guys sometimes, you know, we travel, it's like, hey, you get to see Rome, you get to see Paris, and it doesn't cost you a dime to fly there, and you get pay on top of that, and how can you beat that?
You really can't.
It's true. Like, you know, like my three favorite city in the world for me is Montreal, San Francisco, and Sydney, Australia. That's three beautiful cities.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, you travel all over the world and you get paid. Come on, you know. And I know it's like anything else. After a while, after so many years, oh God, I gotta go to Tokyo again. Oh boy, you know.
Yeah.
And when you've never done that, it's exciting. You know, wow, look at this. Wow, look at that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
It's beautiful.
Right.
And I like cruises.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Where would you like to take a cruise to?
I did one for 29 days, so that was enough. 29 days.
That's a long time.
You're damn right. I was singing karaoke every night.
All right, everybody. That's the man, Pat Patterson. Check out his book, available August 9th, called Accept It, How the First Gay Superstar Changed WWE. Once again, thank you, Pat, for joining us.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it, brother.
Once again, a big, huge thanks to Pat Patterson for joining us here this week on the show. Again, everyone get his brand new book, Accept It, How the First Gay Superstar Changed WWE, which will be available in bookstores on August 9th.